Hi, friends. It is Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And what do we do every Wednesday at 7 o'clock? It's Wine Wednesday. And my phone is blowing up. You can hear it. It's blowing up. Real estate is very good right now. Very, very, very good. Hey. Say hi. This is going to be super interactive. Super, super interactive. A little bit of housekeeping. I'm Jeremy Bates, founder and CEO of JB & Co., powered by Keller Williams. And every Wednesday for the past 3 years, I show up live on YouTube, my Facebook business page, and my personal Facebook page. Hey, Lindsay! Oh my goodness, it's been a minute since I've seen you. And we talk about, lots of things. We talk about girl things. We talk about boy things. We talk about real estate. We talk about life. We talk about kids. We talk about our dogs. We talk about pretty much everything. But right now, our topic recently has been about buyers. Buying a house. And I would love for you guys to talk to me because I can see all your comments. And the biggest thing we're going to talk about today is the offer. This is for real estate agents and it's for you guys as a consumer. I really want you guys to understand what makes a good offer and what the ramifications of an offer really are, because they're kind of huge. Ramifications are huge if you don't have a good offer, right? And all my real estate friends, feel free to just jump in and add your comments about what makes a good offer for you or what you've experienced in the past that just blew up and you were like, what the hell happened? Like, I thought my offer would have been accepted. I thought I was going to win. I mean, my offer was so strong and then you don't win. And you're like, what the hell happened? Really? What fell apart? Okay. We're going to go way back to basics, like basics. When you're working with an agent, and I just got to tell you, if you are going to go buy a house without an agent, that's just dumb. Why is it dumb? Because we're free. We literally work for our buyers for free. How is that possible? Because the seller pays the commission. So if you're selling a house, technically, my glasses are weird tonight. Technically, we're not supposed to talk about commissions. Front Ray, I'm about to bring you on here if I can figure out how to do it. If I can do it, I'm bringing you on. Technically, not supposed to talk about commissions. So I'm not going to use I'm going to use some broad strokes about that. But if you seriously think that you can go and do the contract and all that stuff yourself and you are an attorney, great, go do it. If you're not an attorney, why wouldn't you hire a professional when you actually don't have to pay them? I mean, you might pay us in kindness, you might pay us in dinner, but you ultimately do not pay your agent when you are a buyer. Let me see if I can do this, Brett. There you are. All right, sending you a quick email. One second. There we go. Once you get it, Brett, just hit that button and you will be added to the live stream. Okay, back. When you decide that this is your house, and please, you have to look at least 5. I mean, I would prefer you to be looking at 10 to 15 homes. But if your buyers know what they want, they're not new to the game, they're pre-qualified. Number one, y'all do not take out dead duty, total respect. Do not take your buyers out until you are pre-approved. It's a very easy process. I have lots of vendor partners. I like to keep three big vendor partners in my real estate world. I use Anchor, I use Supreme, I use Cross Country, and I use Certainty. Actually, it's 4. So, and they all have different products on their shelves. So that's why it's important to have more than one lender, but that's a whole other topic. So you're going to take your buyers out who are already pre-qualified, and you're going to be looking at your homes, and you have decided that you are going to write an offer. This is the most important thing I say tonight. The most important thing I say tonight. When you write an offer for a client, and the client, you need to understand this, you are creating a unilateral contract. That means that your buyers agree to do something. They agree to buy this property for this price, for this amount of earnest money, closing on this date with this kind of financing. All those things are in a unilateral contract. And once that gets sent out into whatever e-sign, whatever world that you're sending it to, that's a legal document. The moment the other party signs it, you are binding. That will hold up in court. So if it takes you a minute to write a good offer, because your mind needs to say, will this hold up in court every single time you write an offer? It's that important. It has to do with compliance, it has to do with all those things. Now, truth be told, you can amend an offer during your due diligence, all the way up to the closing table. You can do amendments, but those take time, and you're changing your initial offer. The more changes you do, you're kind of shooting holes in this contract, and it gets a little messy. So you would really want to make sure that your offer, which becomes your contract, is solid with as few changes as possible. Okay? Brett's on dad duty. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments from my real estate friends. That the most important part of when you're buying a house is to know that when you put an offer in, you are writing a legal document. That's huge. Do not go into it lightly. Read it. As agents, goodness gracious, if you have not read a contract, all 14 pages, not just the part that shows how much you're going to get paid, read the entire contract. It will literally answer every question. If you are like, I don't really understand earnest money, and how does that really, it's in your contract. And you need to be that resource for your people so that you can explain to them what all these different things mean within this offer. Now, yes, this is kind of the legal part of putting an offer in on a home. Not kind of the legal part. It is literally the legal part. But it's really important that you understand what you're doing. Okay, next broad stroke that's really important. When someone has an asking price on a home, what the price is currently listed for, that's one very small piece of what that homeowner actually wants. But they can't put all that information on Zillow. I mean, they just can't. When you are talking to an agent who's your listing agent, that listing agent knows the family. They know the story. They know what's going on. They know their pain points. They know what's happening. Hello, my beautiful Becca. How are you, babe? They know their pain points. They know what they're white knuckling. There's a reason that their house is for sale. It could be a whole bunch of different things. There's a reason their house is for sale. You as a buyer don't necessarily know that. It is your buyer's agent's job to talk to, buddy up, get the skinny from the other agent about the motivation of the seller. Why are they moving? What's going on? Where are they headed? Those are all great questions. And if you are not, as an agent, a buyer's agent, if you are not calling the agent that's listing the home of every single home you go to see with your client, then you're not doing your client right. You need to know the skinny on every house that you show. Perfect example. There's a list price for our home. It's $450. It's priced right. The agent's done their job. But what you don't know is there's been a death in the family. And this couple needs to get out of Dodge. They need to move closer to family to support whatever circumstances happening. So do they want $450? Absolutely. But what else is important to them? Timing, right? So how quickly can the buyer close? Is the buyer really qualified? Is the buyer actually going to be able to get to the table to get this done so that we as a seller can move on and take care of our family needs because there is a death in the family? Well, you're not going to know any of that unless your agent, your buyer's agent, has reached out and made nice with the selling agent and you got the skinny. So what does that do for you as a buyer and for the buyer's agent? You can write your offer that is just dreamy for the seller. Not just, sure, we'll give you $450, sounds great, bye. That doesn't work. That's not what we do. That doesn't have kindness, that doesn't have trust, and it certainly doesn't show your expertise, right? So I challenge you when you are looking at writing an offer because you want to get accepted. You don't write an offer and spend that time and go through this process because you like paper. You literally want to get to the table. You want to buy the house. So let's talk about the moving parts. Of course, there's your price. You want to come in with a strong offer for your price. What else? Closing costs. Are you going to ask the seller to contribute some money towards the cost of the sale? A lot of closing costs are happening right now, okay? Here's one reason for closing costs. That carpet's real bad. Yeah, we recognize that. How about we give you $5,000 in closing costs so that you can take care of that carpet? Win. Great. You know, my interest rate's over 7.5. That hurts. The seller agent should know how to do this. How about we offer you $15,000 towards a buy down, a 3-2-1 buy down on that interest rate. So your first year, it'll go down 3 points, second year, 2 points, third year, 1 point. Will that help you out? Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, closing costs, moving parts. Lots of things can happen within that segment of an offer. Asking for closing costs, asking for specific things to alleviate some pain points, right? Next thing that's important, when can you close? Can you close fast? Are you fully underwritten? Do you have a house to sell? Is there a contingency of sale? You might walk in and say, okay, it's $450 for this house, but my house hasn't sold yet and I can't buy your house if my house isn't sold. That's a contingency of sale. That's happening a lot right now, but it's not real sexy. It means that person who's listing their house is like, really? So what do you need to do? You might need to offer more. You might need to say it's a $450 house. I'm going to offer $475 because I have a house to sell. And I'm asking this person to take their home off the market while I get my stuff together. And that's going to cost you more. And that's just reasonable. And if your offer isn't reflecting those moving parts, it's not a good offer and it won't get accepted. Does that make sense? Next portion of an offer, a unilateral contract, is earnest money, okay? A lot of people don't understand earnest money. Earnest money, or EM, is a way a buyer says to a seller, I got you. I am qualified. I know what I'm doing, and I'm really serious about this. Usually, earnest money is 1% of the purchase price. $450,000, $4,500, right? That's what your earnest money is going to be. Now, that earnest money gets credited to the buyer's side towards the deal. Now, if you really want a house, I mean, you're talking to your agent, you're like, that house is mine. I already know where I'm hanging pictures. I know where my Christmas tree is going. Write this offer so I get this house. How about 30% down in earnest money? What? Why would you do that? Because you're serious. That amount of money is already going to go towards the deal. You could put 1% down like everybody else, but what if you put 10, 20, 30% down if you have the cash? Because that earnest money is going to be due 3 days after you bind that contract, and it's going to sit in escrow. It's going to be held. And after due diligence, which is 5, 7, or 10 days, we'll get to that, you will lose that money if you back out. So if someone's willing to put their money where their mouth is and be like, yeah, it's $450,000 house, but I'm willing to put $20,000 into my earnest money to let you know that I'm serious and I'm going to get to the table. Huge. Huge. I have done as much as $250,000 in earnest money on $1 million home because we're serious. We still didn't get the house because someone out there had $1 million in cash. That happens too. So again, moving parts. It's not just the purchase and sale. It's a whole series of things that need to line up based on what that seller needs and what is going to help them with their pain points. You don't know those pain points unless you ask. And as a consumer, you can't. So your agent needs to ask the tough questions, right? What else? We talked about due diligence. DD is how you see it. Capital D, capital D. In the state of Georgia, it is a very buyer-friendly state. You do not have a reason. You don't even have a good reason to leave a contract. So as a seller, you want to see your due diligence like nothing, very minimal. Back in crazy COVID unicorn days, we were talking 0 days due diligence. You don't got a chance to leave. You're in it. There's no chance for you to get out of this deal. And that really worked when you were looking for strong offers. That did work. Now, 3, 5, 7, 10. If I see double digits, it's not a good offer to me personally. I understand 3, 5, and 7. You want an inspector, you want a structural engineer, you want to check for radon, you want to make sure all your ducks are in a row, and you want some negotiating points. You want to be able to say, okay, we've had our inspection and we would like to address some issues. And maybe in lieu of addressing some of those issues, we would like to ask for closing costs or a reduction of purchase price. Again, this all happens with your agent going through this process so that you're protected, so that you get to the closing table and that you only have to do this maybe 4 times in your entire life. Now, I do this like 5 times a day, but that's why it's really important if you want your offer to be accepted to make sure that all those moving parts are in line and in sync and just a fine-tuned machine. Okay, do you have any questions so far about how to get your offer accepted? Okay, so we're talking about you want to alleviate the pain points for the seller, and it doesn't necessarily just mean purchase price, right? Yes, right. Contract mistakes are expensive. When you're a new agent, there are certain boxes that you need to check those boxes. And if you don't know what you're doing, by God, you better have a coach or a mentor or someone who's just unknown caller, or someone who is just really, really, really sweet to you to help you out. Sorry, guys, let me get rid of that. Particularly in the city of Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs, you guys have HOAs. You have an HOA. You have a condo association. Those associations have fees attached to them when you first move in. It's called an initiation fee. Well, we as agents have to fill out an entire form called a CAD, a Community Association Disclosure. And there's a few little numbers in there that if you don't read it just right, you're going to get burned. I've been burned. Those numbers say a minimum of, or at least. So why would you put $100 in there because you didn't read it properly? You're just cruising through. You're like, oh, I probably put $100 in there. I did that over here, so that's probably right. What does that actually mean? It means that the initiation fee is going to be $100. And what if it's $800? Whose fault is that? Yours. Who's going to pay the difference? No one's going to be like, oh my gosh, you did that wrong. You know what? I'll just take that. No. You eat it. You literally give up your commission to make up for your mistakes. And you'll make up the difference. So if you only put 100 in there and it ends up being 8, you owe $700 at the table. I have had to write a check to the attorney to make up for mistakes when I first started. Did I ever make those mistakes again? No, that's what templates are for. You make a mistake, you go back into your template and you say, from now on, I'm going to put $2,000 in that spot, in that one little block on the CAD, so that I know that initiation fee will be below $2,000 and I'll never have to pay more, right? Those are little things that you need to know, you need to catch, you need to go to classes, you need to understand what you're doing as an agent, or you're going to pay for it. There's a few other things like that that can really bite you in the ass, but that's one big one that a lot of agents mess up on, right? But it's a learning process. Don't beat yourself up. You'll do it once, you won't do it again, right? Or maybe you will, but then you'll definitely learn. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what happens when your offer does get accepted? Okay, let me back up a little bit. How about you just get the phone call? You get the phone call from the agent saying, hey, we received your offer. We like it, but it's not quite there. We're going to counter. So there's only one form you need to use when you counter. You just need to change the part of the purchase and sale that you disagree with. You attach them and you send it off. What happens though, when that's attached and sent off, now that is a unilateral contract. The original contract is dead because it is being countered. So when that comes back to you as a buyer's agent and the buyers, you review that and decide if that's what you want. If it's not and you want to counter again, you do the same thing. You add another counter to their counter with the purchase and sales agreement and you send it back. I do not recommend doing this more than twice, so you're just going to piss everybody off. Okay, buddy. He's just not happy unless he's hanging out with you guys. I know. Okay. Lots of love. Lots of love. Okay. And I also use my hands a lot, and he doesn't like when I'm moving my hands around. He's like, Mom, what are you doing over there? I know it's Wednesday, but you got to be so animated. Okay. So that's your counter. Once you all agree to what's happening and that gets signed and bound, it's considered binding. And congratulations, you're under contract. That's amazing. You're not done yet though, because now as a buyer and a buyer's agent, you best get your ducks in a row. You're going to need to have your inspectors out there. I mean, they need to be out there fast. And you get the inspection reports back, and then you do an ATAC, an agreement or amendment to address concerns. This is where you say, your electrical panel is like double booked. It is, no, this is, the junctions are wrong. This is not okay. The structure's wrong. You've got cracks here, cracks there, mold here, mold there. And if it's bad enough where you're like, not what I thought, you can leave. Start all over again. Or you can ask for concessions and move forward. Everyone agrees on what needs to happen. Again, very legal. Everyone signs it and you move on and you come out of due diligence. The next steps in regards to all these offers is you're going to be talking about, you have to have proof of insurance. If you're cash, you don't need a lender and you can go to closing very quickly. What holds up closing fast is a loan, because that loan has to jump through a lot of hoops in order to be completely underwritten and ready to go. Title search has to happen. So you're going to be working with an attorney. All these different things are happening. Of course, we have our special attorneys that we like to use, and we have relationships with them. And so we're able to just walk down the hall and be like, hey, Candace, Thompson Brown, what's going on? Let's fix this. We got this going on. Oh yeah, sure. Let's fix that. Okay. So there's lots of moving parts, but a lot of those parts you're not going to see as a buyer or a seller. That's when you need to make sure that you're working with a professional and they have professional vendors behind them to make sure that it gets all done. And then of course the closing, which is a wonderful day. Sometimes it can suck because someone hasn't done their job. But usually you just need 2 forms of ID, usually driver's license, passport, and a credit card, something like that. And then you go and you sign and you pay money. Of course, don't forget, you're going to have to wire a lot of money, usually 24 to 40 hours beforehand. That's a big deal. You don't want to lose that money. So make sure you're wiring it properly. And you'll get those instructions from your closing attorney. And then you're done. And then you get the keys. Sometimes people do final walkthroughs, sometimes they don't. I recommend it because you want to make sure they did all the stuff they said they were going to do on that agreement to address concerns. And you want to make sure there's receipts and it's done by a qualified, bonded, insured person and all those things. But again, that's your buyer's agent's job to make sure that's done. And then you're at the closing table and it's amazing. And everyone should be happy and amiable, and both sides should just feel really good about the process. And it really should be a celebration. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes things get dicey and you have separate closings. I think out of all the closings I've done, I might have had 2 closings where folks wanted to be in separate rooms. And that usually had something to do with just people being stupid, really. They just needed their space. They needed to flex, whatever. But you just want to get it to the table. So I know I just kind of vomited all over you about what an offer is, that an offer really is a legal document, and how to get your offer accepted. It's so much more than just offering a high price. There's so many different ways to write an offer, strategies of writing an offer. And that honestly is probably for a whole another Wine Wednesday, as far as going into things like appraisal gaps, escalation clauses, and special stipulations, and specific pillars that are really important to a buyer, addressing them right in the offer. But that gets complicated. So I just wanted to bring this to you in regards to putting an offer in and making it strong so that the other side also says, wow, this is a clean, strong offer. Their agent must be really, really good. I want to work with them. There's value there too. So I hope everyone's doing good. Thanks for joining me, my friends. I see you out there. And speaking of offers, I just got one countered and it looks like we're going to get it, which is amazing. So I'm going to get back to work. And sometimes offers have to be rewritten because there's so many different changes. That's what I need to do. So you guys be well, be blessed. And of course, reach out to me, new agents, old agents, just folks who have questions about real estate. I am always available, 678-788-6465. And hit option 2 because option 1 is broken. We're working on that. You guys be well.